Dallas Chamber, and we've asked Carmen and Tamara from Columbia Bank to present to you about the PPP program, Paycheck Protection Program, and what that means and what the opportunities are in hopes to help your business. So Carmen, I'm going to let you take over from here.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I do have Tamara Mumford. She is one of the SBA lenders here at Columbia Bank. Diane Bowles. She is the brand new branch manager for both the Dallas branch and our Cherry Heights location. So I'm going to give Tamara the floor.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, how's everybody doing in these fabulous, uncertain times? A lot of people have equated this to uncharted territory. And it's not just uncharted territory for our country, it's uncharted territory for the SBA. Some of the things that have been coming across, and I'm sure everybody is aware of the Payroll Protection Program. Maybe not all the details and nuances of it, but there's a lot of hype going on about the Payroll Protection Program, along with the EIDL loan that's out there for disaster relief. And there's a couple of, there's another little one out there that a lot of people don't know about as well. It's not as widely popular as the PPP deal right now. So just to kind of give you a brief background, this program was introduced on March 31st, late in the afternoon. And it was the specifics to this program were introduced on March 31st. Until that point, every SBA lender across the nation has been scrambling to try to figure out what it is that we're supposed to do, how we can help our clients, what is our purpose in the middle of all of this. So with that said, March 31st, we started getting barrages. I mean, before that, we were getting barrages of calls, people wanting to jump online. It was introduced to the nation that here you go, here's a paper application, go ahead and fill it out and take it down to your lender. Well, unfortunately, that information's not totally accurate in the fact that yes, you can fill out their paper application, but the 31st, that application has changed several times. If you do not have the correct paper application, you will have to start over. So there's a lot of idiosyncrasies that are happening right now. A couple of other things that transpired as of Friday last week, it felt like the cart and the horse, only the problem was the cart was running down the hill, dragging the horse with it. So as lenders, we typically try to get out in front of everything. That way we can be prepared when people are ready to apply, because there's a lot of hurting people out there. We have business owners that are afraid of closing doors. We have employees who are worried about their paychecks. I mean, it's a hurting nation right now. So we're doing everything that we can to wrap our arms around them. With that said, this PPP program, we all worked late this weekend and we worked through this program, and Columbia Bank as a whole we're in the process of creating a portal. This portal is basically an online application program where your banker, whomever that may be within Columbia Bank, can share this link directly to you and to your business so that you can download all of your documentation, everything that's required for this PPP loan, and we can process this in a very quick and timely manner for you. To get into, that's just a little bit about the process. We do not have that portal as of yet. It's my understanding that we will have that portal sometime later today. That's what we're expecting. And once Pandora's box is opened, we're expecting to have a very huge flood of people that are coming in. We have some branches that they have clients who brought them, we have like 60 applications in one branch. So we know that there's going to be a substantial amount of people coming through the doors. There's also a lot of concern out there that the SBA is going to run out of funding. So I need to hurry up and get my application in line so we don't run out of funding. I understand the concern, and I'm not trying to belittle that in any way, shape, or form, but all lenders are struggling with the same issues right now. We are all facing the same situation where the program's been introduced, but nobody has the infrastructure in place in order to process these applications at this point. Now, I can't speak for today. I know that people have been feverishly working over the weekend. But for us, Columbia Bank, we will be processing these hopefully by the end of day today.
Mm-hmm.
The program itself is one like we've never seen before. So the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program, before I dig into the program, is there any questions that I don't want to run over the top of anybody? Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to keep going then. The Small Business Protection Program, I did send these directly to, I think her name was Lisa. So I did send a couple of just tidbit information to Lisa, along with a fantastic calculator for all you businesses that are out there who need a calculator and don't really understand, okay, well, how do I calculate my payroll? How do I know how much the government's going to allow us to have? I have sent a calculator directly to Lisa. She should be able to get that information out to you guys. Any questions? Okay. The Small Business Paycheck Protection Program is designed to cover funds up to 8 weeks of payroll costs, including benefits. And it is supposed to pay for, it could potentially pay for interest on mortgage, rent, and utilities. But that's it. That's all it's meant to cover. It's really meant to be a bridge to kind of get all these businesses through this crisis mode, and to allow businesses to rehire your employees. So if you've laid them off, if you've sent them down to the employment office and said, hey, go collect unemployment until I can rehire you back, this program is meant to help businesses continue to sustain their business, but also to bring these employees back so that they will steady paycheck. It's fully forgiven. If you follow the criteria and what's expected of SBA, this loan can be fully forgiven. So in essence, it turns from a loan to a grant. Funds are provided in the form of a loan and can be fully forgiven, and as long as it's used for payroll costs, interest on mortgage, rent, utilities. Due to a likely high subscription, at least 75% of the forgiven amount must be used for payroll. So a quick, quirky little nuance to it, 75% of whatever it is that you're going to borrow has to be specifically used for payroll, and it will be verified. Loan payments will also be deferred up to 6 months. So for anyone who has an SBA loan already, those wheels are already turning. As of April 1st, all SBA loans will have a 6-month basically reprieve. It is not going to be, it is not a deferment. It's my understanding that those payments will not be required to be paid back. Okay, wow. SBA loans. The idea of this program is you must keep employees on the payroll or rehire them quickly. So if they're not currently on payroll, with this program, the anticipated time is that you get them rehired quickly. I'm sorry, does somebody have a question? Okay.
Tamara,
yes.
There are a couple questions. And they're not all pertaining to the information right now. What is the best way you want me to do this? Just wait till you're done and then we ask them?
Yeah, that'd probably be best because I might actually be addressing those questions.
Okay, that sounds great. We'll do that.
I'm going to talk about I don't know how much time you want me to take, but I can talk about the documentation. I've got the calculator.
Okay.
Not super awesome about technology, but I might find a way to share the screen and be able to show you what I'm talking about. So just in a nutshell, guys, this program is specifically designed for payroll. It's all small businesses are eligible. It's been opened up to nonprofits. And as a matter of fact, late Friday, we had something that came through which blew my mind. is they're opening up the PPP program to churches as well, which is unheard of for SBA. We've never seen them reach out to any type of religious organization. So I don't have the specifics on that. I apologize. It is relatively new. This situation is very, very fluid. It continues to change. It seems like almost hourly. So it's not that we don't know what's going on. It's just there's so much going on and so much change happening all in a very short period of time. So all small businesses are eligible. The only time it kicks you out of that eligibility bucket is if you have more than 500 employees. So my assumption is in the Dalles, we probably don't have that situation a whole lot out there. So all small businesses are welcome to apply for this, including nonprofits, veteran organizations, tribal concerns, self-employed individuals, sole proprietorships, and independent contractors are eligible. So basically the government has opened up the doors for anyone who is a business owner in any shape or form. Now, there are caveats to that. So there are situations where some businesses will not qualify, and that's some of the things that we can cover in the application itself. Questions so far? Okay. So according to the PPP program, it opened Pandora's box on Friday the 3rd and said that everybody run down to your bank and go apply for this loan. Again, nobody that I know of had the infrastructure in place. And so there were larger box banks like US Bank, Chase Bank, all of these different banks that were having the same issues that we were having. How this works is when your application is certified that we can move forward. Okay, so when we know that you have an eligible business, when we know that you've done your calculations correctly and all of those things have been done properly, we then move on to the certification process where we can pull what we call an E-Tran number. Anybody who's ever done an FHA loan or any kind of SBA lending in the past, any government type lending knows that there is a specific number that gets assigned to your file. This is called an E-Tran number. This E-Tran number, once you have that E-Tran number, that basically guarantees your spot in the program. Okay, assuming that everything's eligible and that there's no quirky things that go on behind the scenes later. That number saves your spot in line for the funding. Okay, so the idea is this process could take, I mean, I don't even know how long it's going to take at this point because we still don't know all of the specifics. The idea is that they're going to be streamlined and ran pretty quickly, which is why we're waiting to open those gates for the portal to come out first, so you can do it all online. So it was opened up April 3rd to all small businesses and sole proprietorships. As of April 10th, it's going to be opened up to independent contractors and self-employed individuals. So they were trying to basically, stall it out so they could get enough applications in for the one before they start processing the other. So that's what's coming next. It says how to apply. Well, basically you go to an SBA lender. So there's SBA lenders all over the place. It's not just, Columbia Bank is rated one of the top SBA loan officers in all of Oregon and Washington. So we would love to be able to help you in your business needs. Something to know is one of the caveats that we do have and I'm happy to discuss this further, but one of the caveats that they're putting into place is because this particular program is going to be so influential and we're going to see so many loan applications through here, we do ask that the first round that we have, those individuals are existing clients. We're trying to assist and help all of our existing clients first because we want to make sure that level of service is there. You didn't hear this from me, but you can have a conversation with Carmen later and she can fill you in on all the details. So we do ask that you be an existing client. With that said, the process itself is as far as the application and everything goes, some of the things that you can help us with to be proactive. If you've already pulled and printed an application directly from the websites, please know that the application could be the wrong one. So, I'm sorry, did somebody have a question? Okay.
Nope.
Let's see, the application template that I have here. Now, please keep in mind, this can change and it has changed several times. If you have already pulled application form 2483, okay, this is the one that was online that you can print off, that everybody's saying here, fill out this application and take it to your bank. That application has changed so many times. You're looking for the application up in the upper right-hand corner that has an expiration date of September 30th, 2020. If you have an application that is any other date than September 30th, 2020, as of Monday the 6th, that application is void and you will have to do it again. So that's why I encourage those of you that are Columbia Bank customers or have intentions of becoming Columbia Bank customers, just wait until our portal is done. We will give you all of the updated information, or you'll just need to go back to the website that you printed the 2483 from, and hopefully we have the updated version. The application in and of itself for SBA is actually a really small application. I was looking it over and I'm like, wow, this is really small compared to most of the applications out there. They are going to ask you for average monthly payroll. That average monthly payroll is going to take into consideration. That's how you're going to do your calculations. And I've included a calculator that I sent to Lisa that gives you instructions and examples of what this would look like. So it'll be helpful for you in the future. It's going to ask for number of employees. So remember, as long as you're 500 employees and under, you should be covered. There's also a spot on here that says purpose of the loan. And there are 4 options that you can choose from on here: payroll, lease, mortgage, interest, utilities, and others. So if you select other, you're going to have to explain what that is. And under the criteria of this program, payroll, lease, mortgage interest, and utilities are all that you can include in here. So if you include anything else, the loan is considered ineligible.
I just have one question about the average monthly payroll.
Yeah.
What time frame is that based on?
That is a good question. That is going to depend on the business. So any business that's been in existence since February 15th of 2020 and back are eligible for this program. So depending upon how long your business has been in place, my assumption would be that you would go straight to your 2019's average or your year-end totals. That would be the best form to use would be your year ends.
Okay.
If you are a newer business between January to February, there's no real way to know how much that's going to be. So then at that point, you're going to assume what that number is going to be and then provide all of your details and your explanations.
Okay, so I'll use the 2019 tax ends.
That's going to be your safest bet, yes.
Okay,
and
for 1 year, yeah.
Yep, and the calculator is going to tell you everything that you can use in this figure. So even though the application says average monthly payroll, you're going to be looking to the calculator to tell you exactly what these numbers and figures are going to be.
Okay, perfect, yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So here's another quirky thing about it. You must list all 20% or more who own the business. So any owner that has a 20% ownership or greater needs to be listed on the application as an applicant owner. It doesn't matter if they are an acting party. If they own 20% or more, they have to be on this application. Okay. If they're less than 20%, they do not need to be listed at all on the application. We don't care if this totals 100% or not. SBA does not care if it totals 100% or not in ownership. What we care about are those individuals that are 20% owner or greater. Okay. Questions? Okay. There on the application itself, there are going to be several questions, yes or no questions. You must answer these to the best of your ability, and not to scare you, but some of these yes or no questions are eligibility questions. If they're answered a specific way, that will make the loan ineligible. So just make sure when you're reading through these that you're answering them to the best of your ability, and your banker should be able to help you through the rest.
We got her to talk to.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
On the application where it asks for a number of employees, is that FTE or headcount?
Total number of employees. So it's going to be your head. It'll be your head count. The program is based on 500 employees or under, so the government is being really specific about how many people actually work for you, how many bodies.
I'm sorry, one more question. What
Yeah.
about our owners that are 100% shareholders and they're married like me, and my spouse has a payroll? Are they accounted for as an owner, or are they just an employee?
They're going to be an employee. How do you have the business listed? Is it an LLC?
Incorporated.
Incorporated. Okay, so as a corporation, you would apply just like you would normally, and that person would be considered an employee of the company.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Should I move on?
I have one question.
Okay.
So my husband's sole proprietor, 100% ownership of the company. We have no employees.
Okay.
And reading the document, it said that they qualify, but if we don't write him a payroll check, is it really a qualification for this loan?
Yes. So all sole proprietorships, they're taken into consideration on their own merits. So again, you'll have to forgive me. This is as new to me as it is to you. So give me a second. Let me pull up my examples here. Yeah. So if he's a sole proprietorship, what taking into consideration is how much, whatever he paid himself. So whatever you're reporting for income. Going to take, it says no employee. Okay, so no employee. Bear with me a second. They're going to just take whatever he's making, and they're going to use that as the basis to calculate it. So like on our LLCs, whatever your net profit is, they're going to base it off of your net profit. If you have no employees in your sole proprietorship, they're going to base it off of your net profit. A few other things, other caveats that they take into consideration with that, like interest paid, any type of payroll deductions and things like that. They're going to take all of that into consideration, and that's what they would calculate it off of. So just off the top of what I'm seeing here, it's off of the net. So yes, he would qualify.
Okay. Thank you.
So Tamara, I have a couple of questions, and I think they're going to be involved in what you're talking about.
Okay.
So one of the questions is, we are not a seasonal employer, but have a higher number of employees during certain portions of the year. Headcount at what point? Will we be able to clarify the difference between the total number during the year and the current average?
That is a great question, and I don't have the answer for that.
Okay.
employees.
So
we have
Kathy, if you're listening, we're going to dive deeper into this. As you know, things are rolling out like crazy. I will work with Carmen and Tamara, and if we can find out an answer for you, or I will get a hold and send questions to the U.S. Chambers and SBA, just the same, and see if we can come up with something for you to answer that question. And then the other part that I was going to ask is, Wanda is asking about the application. She has the current one, the one dated 9/30. It has a section for the loan structure information and ask amount of loan request. Is that the actual determined by the payroll calculation, or is there a different amount that goes there?
No, it's determined by, and let me pull up the application so I'm looking at what you're looking at. It's determined by the calculation. So your loan amount cannot be any more than what that calculation comes to.
Okay.
It can be less if they don't want as much. That's fine. We can do it for less. We can't do it for more than.
Okay, and then several of you have asked about the calculator. We'll be sending, Katie is working on an email that we will send out to everybody as soon as this is done and we have the recording, and it will have the calculator, the information, and different links. So you guys will all get that information probably by lunchtime today.
I can also send out the list of documentation that's going to be required. I can briefly cover it now, but a lot of these, some of these are bank specific documents, and then others are documents that businesses should start getting prepared now so that they can be at the forefront of this.
Okay, and then one more quick question before you continue. It says, my client is a single member LLC reporting on a Schedule C. Should they apply for a loan as an LLC or a sole proprietor?
If you're on a Schedule C, you're going to apply as if it were an LLC.
Okay, great. Thank you. You can.
So there's a lot of information here, guys. And in a nutshell, the PPP program is forgivable as long as you're using it for the proper items. Yes, your bankers can help you through it. Please have some patience with us, as this is an ever-changing environment. We are gearing up to help multiple different people with this program. And some of the ways that you can help us would be to start having some very specific documents ready. So some of the things that we're going to be looking for, right off the bat, we're going to need your entity documents. So if you're a sole proprietorship corporation or LLC, all of your entity documents that go hand in hand with that. So on a sole proprietorship, we're going to require a copy of your business license. Corporation, it's going to be articles of incorporation and bylaws. LLC, certificate of formation, and operating agreement. So basic stuff. We will also require a copy of the page 1 of the most current business tax returns or your Schedule C. Copies of payroll tax reports filed with the IRS, state, or local government. So somebody asked me this question earlier about the average monthly payroll. We're going to be asking for what you filed with the IRS. So that's why I say 2019 will work. If you haven't filed taxes for 2019 yet, 2018's information. That can look like Form 940, Form 941. That could look like state income tax reports. That could be unemployment tax filing reports. That could be 1099s issued to independent contractors. So these are things that are going to be required when you submit your application. Documentation regarding payroll costs. So we'll need your internal payroll reports. So if it's coming from a vendor, we'll need their reports. If it's coming from you in-house, we'll need to get your reports. For each pay period for the preceding 12 months that documents the following: gross wages, including paid time off, the total number of employees, identifies the number of employees, if any, that receive annual compensation exclusive of benefits in excess of $100,000. So the $100,000 SBA has deemed, if you have any employees that make more than $100,000 in wages per year, then they will only count $100,000 of those wages, okay, in your calculations. So when you're doing your calculations, if you have any employees that make more than 100, just know that you're only going to be able to calculate 100,000 for them even. Okay. And there's some examples of that in the calculator. Let's see, documentation reflecting health insurance premiums paid by the applicant business. This could include internal payroll reports, invoices, or profit and loss statements. Documentation of all retirement plan funding. This could include schedules and remittances, and from the profit and loss statements. Schedule E's, pages 1 and 2 for all individuals that own 20% or more of the applicant business. A determination for affiliated businesses is required. If you are any company shown in page 2 of the Schedule E, please provide the number of employees for each business. So a couple of other caveats. If you're a franchise, there's going to be a few extra hoops that you have to jump through as a franchise. If you have affiliated businesses, so I'm business A and I want to apply for the Payroll Protection Program, but all of us, you know, one of my owners owns 50% ownership in business B. Well, if there's an affiliation there, then there's additional documentation required as well. So I do believe I sent this copy of the documentation checklist along with the calculator, so you can have it front center for yourselves. At this point in time, guys, that's about what I know. We have some samples that we can run through. I mean, it's a moving target. So I hate to sound like I don't know everything, but unfortunately at this point in time, I don't know everything. I know enough to be dangerous, and we're anticipating, like I said, Pandora's box to open. So what other questions can I answer for you, or maybe set aside that I can answer for you and get back to you on those questions later, or
Yeah, I have a somewhat confusing one.
okay.
The economy's been booming for us in New Jersey probably for the past year and a half. So of course we hired more employees in the past 6-7 months. Now medical renews on April 1st. So I just put them on my renewal. These payments get counted because it's really the first month of them.
I believe that they can. Don't hold my feet to the fire on this answer because I'm not 100% sure. My understanding, based on the document requirements, is you can provide profit and loss in order to prove what's been paid. So as long as you provide proof that those items have been paid, my understanding is that yes, you can use it.
Okay, yeah, because if I use my 2019 year end, my year ends in March. That's my biggest issue. I'm not showing 4 or 5 employees from the previous years.
Okay, so like I said, the documentation that's included in, see, everything that we're talking about with the Columbia Bank process would actually go through a reviewer, and a reviewer is going to make sure that your calculations match up to what the government's going to require us to do. So in that, I would say having your profit and loss and having those reported on your profit and loss, that's going to be able to, you should be able to include that.
Okay, great.
Okay, Tamara, I do have some questions that have been rolling in, so I'm going to just do one at a time, and we'll go from there. One of the questions was, we don't have a Columbia Bank banker assigned to us. Who should we contact? We've been with the bank for 12 years.
It depends on where you're located. If you're in the Dalles, Carmen's going to be your gal. Carmen and Diane, they're awesome. If you're in Hood River, I know Ortega's out there, Craig Ortega. And if you're in White Salmon, Maria is in White Salmon. So all great people. If there's somebody specific that you're looking for, if you need a business banker, we do have several business bankers out there. We have Damon, we have, I know Batter isn't there anymore. There's a few others, and Carmen will have a list of business bankers if you want to directly work with a business banker.
Okay, so I have a couple scenarios. One of our persons said, if I lay off 2 employees and they get other jobs and do not want to return, how do I handle that to be at 100% by June 30th? Can I replace them with other employees by June 30th? Or does it have to be the same employees that I bring back?
Nope, you can rehire.
Okay, that's awesome.
Mhm.
There you go, Sandy, you got an answer. It's like, okay, so in their expenses, I have a feeling this is where they're headed and what they can include in that 2.5 for payroll expenses. Do we include the flex plan expense and the workers' comp insurance expense?
That's a great question. If you'll give me a second, I'm going to defer to some of these samples that were sent out to us.
Okay, while you're looking, I'm going to add a couple other things that they were asking to go along
Sure.
with that. Somebody else. Dental premiums, do they count towards the medical premiums paid? I'm going to assume that's a yes.
I would assume, because here's the thing, anything that is indicated as an employee health expense, my understanding is those are going to be included.
Okay.
So, but
That's what we've been told also by the U.S. Chambers, is that it was all things related to the medical expenses, all your payroll taxes, expenses, anything that had to do with that, and that was part of your total payroll that you could include in that.
correct, and that's kind of a loaded question because every business reports these things differently. So depending upon how it's reported and how it shows up in your financials, that's what's going to determine whether or not you can use it. So like in this example that I'm looking at here, this business reported something as insurance and then it has health. So in that scenario, we would totally include that because we know it's going towards the employees, right? But if it just said insurance, business, then we're not going to include that because we have no idea what it is. If it is clarified, we can't include it.
Okay.
Yeah, on that, most QuickBook applications just say insurance expense. Could we hand in like the insurance policy or something?
Again, another good question that I don't know the answer to. My understanding is that we're going based off of whatever is showing up on the P&L. If I would assume further, I mean, knowing SBA, right, and the spirit of SBA, as long as it can be explained and justified, typically in the spirit of SBA, something like that would be okay. So I don't have a clear answer for you. I'm sorry, but I would say if you include that in your calculation, then definitely provide the proof of what it is that you're including.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, we do have a question. Does the PPP apply to agriculture also the same way?
Wow, you guys are killing me over here.
I do have an information on agriculture that was sent out by Business Oregon. I can send that to you guys also, and it had some different things that were for agriculture. I don't have the question for the SBA, but I do have some other options for you.
I would venture to say, I mean, agriculture is not typically something that SBA usually gets involved with. We do some things, hobby farms, different things like that. But when you're talking about, you know, agriculture, you're going to want to go through, I believe it's the Farm Bureau, isn't it? So the Farm Bureau would be something, or here's the thing, Carmen, you hooked up with Damon. Damon is our business banking officer out there. He knows everything there is to know about agriculture and all of the programs that are available. So my immediate answer is I would assume that it's going to cover some portion of that. That's not my area of expertise, though. Damon would be your point of contact on that.
Yep. So we also had someone ask, and I happen to know the answer to this because I think I asked some other people, do we include employee portion of health premiums or just employer expense? It is just the employer. This is strictly what the bosses are having to pay to have the employees.
Yes.
So just so you guys know that. It's a great question because this is so confusing. And like they said, there's so many things changing moment to moment. So no questions too small, no questions too big. If we don't have the answer between this team, we'll go find an answer for you and get it to you, or at least get the right person that you need to talk to.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm looking really quick. Oh, someone wanted to know, there's a lot in this chat box. Someone wanted to know on the PPP application where it says times 2.5 equals the loan request, can we put a number there slightly lower than the average monthly payroll times 2.5?
As long as it's not more, I would assume you could go lower. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would want to, unless you're just wanting to apply for less. So you can apply for less. You don't have to apply for the maximum amount.
Did someone just ask a question?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, this one's pretty detailed, so I'm gonna just read it. The SBA document, page 11, item G, III, says excluded payroll taxes are federal employment taxes imposed or withheld between February 15th and June 30th, including the employees and the employer's share of FICA, and income taxes required to be withheld from employees. What does that mean? It sounds like net paychecks to employees, but that doesn't make sense.
Could you send me that question? Because
yes, I will gladly send the question to you. So Kathy Bourne is the one who asked that. So Kathy, just be patient with us. I'm going to send all of these questions to Carmen and Tamara, and then we will have your contact info from this. It saved your logins. And so we will send out, I'm going to give Carmen and Tamara the contact list, and then that way they can get answers to you. And Todd Carpenter said that he sent me a document to what she's referencing. And so I will make sure I send that on to both of you also. And then we will try to get the best answers possible to you guys by lunchtime today.
I have the guide that this person's asking the question from. The thing is, I need to dig into the guide.
Okay.
If anybody's ever seen policy and procedure from SBA, it's pretty lengthy. So I've got it here. Just make sure you identify the specific spot, and I'm happy to pull it up and look through it.
Perfect. And I have another question that just rolled in. Sandy said their insurance renewed on December 1st. We are now paying more than 2019 for employees. What do we include?
So again, as long as it's showing up on your P&L, and as long as you can provide documented proof of what it is that you're paying, you should be able to include the here and now, not 2019s. So 19s are going to basically show a trend or a history, right? So, but if your P&L reports the new information, then you should be fine. Just remember, everything that you're wanting to claim, you are going to be doing these calculations, you the business owner. We're just going to go behind you and make sure that the calculations make sense and that we have all the documentation necessary to provide proof to the government. The reason that you want to make these calculations as accurate as possible, because when we get to the end of this period where this loan period, then that's the point in time where the lender is going to make the determination whether or not the loan is forgivable. So that's where you're going to want to have all of your verification in line. When the lender makes that determination whether or not the loan is forgivable, that's what we're going to fall back on, is all of our documentation.
Okay. Has SBA given any guidelines as to how long it will take to release funds on, I'm thinking that says as they receive applications?
There is no set time period. I do know that these loans are there for a purpose, and the idea is to get them in and out as quickly as possible. I know on some instances there's people saying, well, apply for your loan on Friday and you'll have your money by Monday. I don't know if you've ever done an SBA loan in your life, but funding doesn't happen that quickly. Nothing happens that quickly with the government. We will do everything in our power to get that money in your hands as fast as we possibly can. At this point in time, we are stalled out because we're waiting on our portal, which we're expecting to have later today. If we have it later today, I'm curious myself to see how long the process is going to take from beginning to end. But just know that those of you that are applying with Columbia Bank, we will be with you on this every step of the way. So we'll do everything we can to help expedite the process.
Okay, next question. I have a client who operates a campground on Schedule E, Form 1040. The business operated at a loss in 2019. There were no wages paid. I'm assuming they are ineligible for the PPP loan.
Again, that is another great question that I do not have the answer for.
Okay.
We addressed businesses on Schedule E specifically with losses. So if you could shoot that question over to me, I would be happy to find the answer for you and get that back to you.
Okay, Sean, so I'll be giving your question on to Tamara and we'll see what we can do to get you an answer for that, which is the EIDL, that you would receive that. How is that actually connected? Because those are two different portals.
To my knowledge, they're not connected. I know
Okay.
that the application itself, it asks you if you've applied for the EIDL, and that's taken into consideration too as part of your funding amount with the PPP program. So I don't know how those two are connected in any way. Other than if you decide to go and apply for it after doing the, if you're not eligible for the PPP, it doesn't make you ineligible for the EIDL loan. So you can still go and apply for that as well.
Okay. And then you said churches are now able to do, because they're a 50C3.
Mm-hmm.
So
I found out on Friday.
So, and I believe that all 501c3s are eligible to do this PPP, is what we were told last week.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who are not eligible are a 501c6, which is your Chamber of Commerce.
Well, that stinks.
I had other words.
Hey, we're trying to keep this G-rated.
Yeah, I know. I may have said them after I was off the camera, but we are not eligible for this. So I do encourage the churches, since you are, and any 501c3, because a lot of our attractions have people on payroll, to make sure that they follow through and do apply as that assistance is out there. Okay, I have two more questions.
Sure.
Okay, so the SBA document, page 18, item T4, says documentation verifying the number of full-time equivalent. What does that mean?
Again, we're referencing
That document.
SBA's policies. So go ahead and shoot that over to me in a question, and I will get back to you with the answers.
Okay, perfect.
The thing is, I don't want to give you the wrong answer on the fly. I would rather dig into it, make sure I have the accurate information to give back to you. Since this is such a moving target, I want to make sure, A, we're looking at the right procedural notice, and B, that I answer you correctly.
Okay, and then here is another one, and we've all been through this. What would happen if you put one number on the application and when Columbia Bank verifies the information, the amount differs? Will that hold up the loan process of it, or will it be automatically updated?
Well, we can't update your information. So we can just go hand in hand and tell you, okay, this is what we found, and then we'll walk you through the process of what needs to be adjusted. Anything that's a government document, as Carmen and Diane can attest to, we can't change any of that information for you. You have to make those adjustments because you are certifying that that information is accurate, true, and complete. And we can't do that on your behalf. So we would get back in touch with you. Will that hold up your loan process? Again, we're putting many procedures and people in place to be able to help streamline this process. So I don't believe that it would, I mean, depending on what it is, it could hold up the process, but if it's something minor, we can typically get that fixed right away and get you moving.
Okay.
Same thing if it were the same traditional process. I mean, if you were to fill out a 1919 and you didn't initial it properly or sign it in blue ink, we're just going to have you redo it. Same thing.
All right, so is there any other questions? There's a few questions that popped up and I messaged you privately that's a question I'm just going to pass on to Carmen and Tamara and let them get answers back to you rather than, because it looks like they're getting pretty specific into that document. So I will get that information to you on those pieces. Sandy did put out another question. If your payroll is higher in 2020 versus 2019, can I use the 2020 because I added employees?
Yes. Again,
Okay.
P&L. P&L proof, that's all you need. You need proof of what the difference is between 2019 and 2020.
I've been asked, okay, so I've actually been asked by our, one of the many teams that I sit on as the chamber and to make sure that we're advocating for our community and our businesses, that I would like to get feedback from all of you to the email that we originally sent this out with, just so I can hear, 1, how you're doing, 2, concerns, 3, is this helpful, 4, is this going to give you hope? And I need you to be realistic with me. What is it that this is doing for you? How is it helping you? Do you need more assistance? Not necessarily just financially, but support from us, support from the community, support from the government, as far as either understanding or making these things happen. I need that feedback from all of you so that I can give that on to our regional solutions, to Business Oregon, to MCED, and to our own local leaders, so that they can better know how to serve our own community so that we make sure that we make it through this. So I would really love for you guys to give me that feedback. Just send it to the membership at the Dallas Chamber. I have people who want it, and this isn't just an open request. This is going somewhere, and I will compile it and get it all to them. But I need it from you by Wednesday at the latest, so I can put this in a form to send to them on Thursday.
I just had another question. I don't know if it's state-based or what. We're in Bergen County, New Jersey, and a lot of employees and stuff are getting sick. If they do test positive, are they now on a disability act, or can I still pay them?
Are you asking me directly?
Whoever, I mean.
Okay.
I don't have the answer for that one.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm going to jump in for first off, it depends on what your state has determined for all of this. We have, the federal has the regulations out that tell you what you can and can't do. You could also, it depends on what you can do as a business. You could pay them paid sick leave, and then you just treat them as an employee still on your payroll. You can choose to pay them just regular so they don't use up their sick leave, and then they're still a employee on your payroll. But as far as making requirements of what you can and can't do, I would check in with your own employment office. Ours is called WorkSource. I would check in with them, and then what your state has chosen to be for their regulations on those on that matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, thank you.
Okay, you bet. I do have another question. If the loan process is started, is it possible to cancel it and not accept it?
I would believe so. I mean, it's just like any other loan. You're going to sign at the end of this that you've accepted the terms, conditions, and everything that goes with it. If you choose to withdraw your application from the mix, then yes, we would just withdraw it for you. You just have to give it to us in writing that that's what you want to do.
Thank you. The other clarification I want to make sure people are very aware of is this was all about the Payment Protection Program, and then there's the EIDL program, which is the emergency. There's a whole acronym there. Those are 2 different programs, 2 different portals. And if you decide to apply for them both, they cannot both be used for the same purpose and both be forgiven. They each need to have a different aspect. You can do the EIDL and have it forgiven if you use it for to show your payroll and expenses tied with that. You can use the PPP for the payroll and all your expenses tied with that, but you cannot do both and have them both forgiven if you're both showing them for the same reason. So just be careful, ask lots of questions. As we said, this is an ever-changing, moment by moment kind of piece that's happening. So please be patient with your bankers and all your other friends who are helping you with this, because this is so new. No one's ever done this territory.
Note really quickly, for those businesses who did apply for the EIDL, so that's Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. If you did apply for that program and you were approved and you did receive funding from that program, you need to, and you're trying to apply for the PPP, it's okay that you apply for the PPP, but you have to identify that you received those funds, and you're going to sign and you're going to certify that you received those funds later and how much of those funds that you received. So they would be taken out of the calculation when you're doing the new calculation for the PPP.
The other difference between your PPP and your EIDL is your EIDL has a 4-year deferment with a 30-year payment plan. Your PPP has a 6 to 12-month deferment, depending on what the circumstances are, with a 2-year, if I'm correct, repayment plan. Is that right, Tamara?
Yes, I believe so. And the interest on the PPP is 1%. It initially came out at 0.5%. It's now 1%.
Okay. Like we said, this changes every moment.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? These have been great questions, guys. What if you have applied but not received the funds?
You have a choice at that point in time. You can dedicate yourself fully to the EIDL program, or you can dedicate yourself fully to the PPP program. If you have not received the funds, you haven't signed for the funds, then you can just basically choose one or the other, whichever one suits your business best.
Okay. Someone said, thank you, good luck, and hope we are all able to get the application portal open so we can bring dollars to our community. I agree. Will Columbia Bank be our contact during that process? That's if you choose to do banking with Columbia Bank. If you have a bank that you are presently with and have been using them for your business, I suggest that you check in with them because they have all of your information on file. If you don't have a regular bank, then I'm sure Columbia Bank will be glad to connect with you. But as they did state, they're going to try to address their present customers who are in this situation first. But I know that Carmen is amazing and she would be glad to connect with you to make sure that you're taken care of. And then that is it. The other ones were just notes. And so, like I said, I would love to hear back from all of you on anything and everything through this whole process, and so that I can give that feedback appropriately to our state and county and city leaders so they can know better how to serve each one of you because you are crucial and you matter. Just send that my way. And I do want to say a huge thank you to Carmen and Tamara. This is unknown territory, and I really appreciate you putting yourselves on the line and being out there for us. And I wish you the best, and maybe you guys could deliver chocolate to the banks. They probably will need it in the next few days, along with some maybe adult beverages. So, or at least coffee to keep them going.
Yeah.
So I do thank you for all of that. Carmen, do you have anything you want to add?
I just want to say a big shout out to Tamara. That was awesome. And I think it was, I mean, both Diane and I learned some new things as well. So you were absolutely amazing. Quick updates for Columbia Bank. As of today, our lobbies are now temporarily closed. We do have a telephone number that if you'd like to set up an appointment to come in for anything, open a new account, or you need a new debit card, Our telephone number is 541-298-6604. Other than that, our branch has a 2-lane drive-up. Our Cherry Heights branch has a 5-lane drive-up. So don't hesitate. We are open. It was effective as of this morning. So thank you to Lisa, and thank you everyone for joining. And we look forward to working with you, and good luck, and keep those spirits high. You guys are doing an amazing job, and my heart goes out to all of you as a business owner. So you're very important to everyone. So keep it up, okay?
All right, at that, thank you, everyone. We will get stuff. Tamara, did you have something you wanted to add?
Nope. I want to thank you guys for having me today, and I'm sorry I didn't have all the answers hot and heavy right in front, but we'll do everything that we can to help you. We will have our connection information. Please, please, please be patient with us. I think last week I looked up and I had 50 emails waiting for me. So, and it literally takes me, an hour to get through them. And then I had like 10, 20 more. So please, please, please be patient. I expect that our phones are going to be blowing up. Our emails are already blowing up. So if you have questions, I promise you I will get back to you. Just give me some time to do that. Okay?
All right, thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day, and we will get an email out to you by lunchtime.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Yep,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Signing off.